Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of Strata Today. On today's episode, we're speaking with Daniel Masci, who is the co-founder and CEO of Masci Group. Daniel, thank you for joining us.
Dean, amazing to be here. Thanks for having me.
Mate, it's been a while since we've last spoke. Obviously, we're in a new lockdown as we speak. How's it all been going on your end?
Remaining very positive. And for some reason or another, I seem to get a lot of work done at home. So they're quite enjoying the lockdown, but also too staying in touch with all of the team and communicating is imperative for us. Just touching base to make sure everyone else is doing well.
So for our listeners today, Daniel, can you give some insight on who is the Masci Group? What do you guys do? How did it start? Where are we at today?
Who is the Masci Group? It's always an interesting question. So Masci Group is myself and my brother. We are both co-founders in the business, and we have a few businesses that sit. So Masci Group essentially is the mothership to all the other businesses that we have. We're quite entrepreneurial, and we've always been very interested in business, existing businesses, new business. So we acquire new businesses, and we also JV in startup businesses. So at the moment, we've got, I think, collectively about 8 or 9 different companies under Masci Group, ranging from construction businesses to architectural to blinds companies, construction software, and some financial companies that are coming out later on this year. So we like to keep very busy, and part of that as well as what we do. We have another business, Masci Services Group, which facilitates all the back end services to all of our companies. So administration, accounts, support, mentoring, and coaching. And one of the key things for us with all those businesses is having the right people, because we certainly can't run that many businesses on our own. But we have amazing people at the head of every organisation that runs it.
The human capital is so important, but so overlooked in so many different instances. Did you find that there was a bigger focus on human capital after the pandemic or during the pandemic? I think from our experience, a lot of organisations probably realised the quality of people they had and wanted to keep them around as that pandemic took place. Was that something similar for you guys?
Yeah, totally, because it was, we already had a really good idea of who our key people were, and, during the pandemic, those guys and girls all stood up really, really well. And it was very unknown territory for all of us. And, like I said, we do have a couple of construction businesses, so we were able to work through that. But it was reduced hours and it was working from home. And our key players really stood up and came to the party and said, let's do this, let's drive the ship, and let's get over COVID and smash it into next year.
It's interesting. You mentioned that Masci Group, obviously, with up to 8 or 9 different businesses under the banner of Masci Group. Mm-hmm. What's been the biggest challenge in acquiring or developing new businesses? Because I'm guessing that it started with construction and it's evolved into the beast it is today, right?
I think I think most businesses essentially are relatively the same, right? I think the biggest challenge has been mine and Mark's expectations that all these people that we would bring along into the businesses would have the same mindset, the same ethics, and the same work drive as what we do. And, that's been the real challenge, is to understand that, hang on, people don't actually have that same drive, and they don't have the same sort of ethics that we do, or, probably ethics that they do, but the same drive as what we do. It's been us sitting back and saying, well, people don't necessarily need to be us, because if they are us, that's not what we want. We want people who are individual, who can think, who can say, well, we can't do this or this or this right now, but here's a plan to do it later. Where we're always like, come on, let's do it now. Come on.
Do you think that broaching those challenges was more of patience on your end and understanding different people, or did you put processes into place to have different assets or human capital within the organisation take that stress off your shoulders?
I think that a massive one has been putting the right KPIs in place and giving the deliverables and the accountability to those people, because otherwise, Mark and I have been, and in the past, the sort of people that if people aren't doing it, they will just say, okay, give it to me, I'll do it. Give it to me and I'll do it. And there's no learning for them in that. And we pointed out quite nicely by a few people to say, well, if you just keep taking stuff over, how am I supposed to learn? And how am I going to be accountable for it? So or we'd see complacency in certain people where they'd be like, okay, yeah, you do that and you do this. And so Mark and I would just, naturally or organically take on more and more and more. And then we'd complain at the end of the week because we aren't getting the results from the team that we wanted, but we're the ones who were at our own demise, so to speak.
So taking a step back, you felt like you were enabling that to a certain degree?
Absolutely, we were enablers in the worst way, but we learned from our ways.
So what's next for the Masci Group? As we sit here, 2021, we're almost halfway through the year, which is scary in itself. What's next for Masci Group? Obviously, the diversification of the business offering and the different segments under the Masci Group banner. What's next?
Look, for us, what's next is stabilizing and really injecting, everything that we have, that magic that we bring into business, that magic that we bring into our own lives, and that learning and change and growth, putting that into all of these businesses to make them all, because we have our saying at all of our groups is, be awesome. And we want everyone to live by that. So what's next for us is really creating stability in all of the businesses, creating accountability, putting those KPIs into place, and, having a slow growth that is sustainable, not a crazy rocket out of this world growth, because it's not sustainable, and making sure that we are communicating what we want, what the business wants, and how we can all get that.
Daniel, listen, short, sharp and sweet, but it's really nice for other business owners, influential business decision makers to hear how other businesses are approaching, post-pandemic world and looking at diversification. So thank you so much for sharing your story with our listeners. It's much appreciated.
Thanks for having me, Dino. And one more thing I just wanted to quickly add, I know we're out of time, but it's also a massive thing for us this year is action. Take action. Too many people will write a list and don't take action, but this year for us is all about action. If we're not taking action, or people around us aren't taking action, it's dead in the water. Move on. What's next? Take action.
How's it been going with the action taking?
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Excellent. Listen, Daniel, as I mentioned, it's been an absolute joy sitting down with you and having a chat. We wish the Masci Group all success going from the middle of 2021 on upwards and onwards.
You're an amazing man, Dino. Be awesome.
Thank you very much, buddy.